Everyone, welcome to the May 21st Public Infrastructure Meeting. I'm Councilwoman Ortiz. I'm the chair of this committee. I'd ask that my colleagues introduce themselves, please.
David Banks, Councilman, 4th District.
Neil, you're muted. We still cannot hear you.
He's unmuted, so it might be on our end.
Okay, we're checking our end. Can you hear us, Neil? I'm going to go ahead and get started, Neil, while they're working on that, if you don't mind. Appreciate that. Okay. Approval of the April 16th minutes. Can I get a motion from the floor, please?
Motion to approve.
There's been a motion. Peace to you too, Neil. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, aye, 3-0, thank you. Okay, we're going to get an update about the Polk Quincy Viaduct. And is that you, Sylvia?
That's me.
Okay, thank you.
We'll wait and see if we can pop it up on screen here. All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to just come and present an update along with some pictures. We've been trying to make sure we give plenty of updates in the city manager's weekly reports, but just in case it's lost in the shuffle or you guys want to ask some questions, we thought now would be a good time to give you a status report on how this utility work is going. So as a refresher and overview, the viaduct, the Polk Quincy Viaduct, spans along I-70 from McVicker Avenue over to 6th Street. And I say McVicker because we had some work associated with a project that went to McVicker. This project was a very large project that we then split into 6 smaller projects so that we could get some more competitive bids. Ultimately, that brought the cost of the overall project down significantly, and we've been managing all 6 of these projects separately, but coordinating together so that we can try to have some organized chaos out there as this work unfolds. Just a highlight of all of the work that's being done, 7,000 plus feet of stormwater, of sanitary sewer, work being done. We're touching 2,600 feet of storm sewer, 6,000 feet of water line, and then after that, we're going to go back in and have over 12,000 linear feet of pavement being replaced. So we're touching a lot. Many of you are feeling the impacts traffic control wise, and we appreciate the patience that everybody's been exhibiting. We have really worked hard, our team has really worked hard alongside the engineering and public works teams to try to coordinate this effort. Engineering is sending out daily, weekly traffic updates for us as things change. We have social media updates, press releases that have gone out. We have about 88 people that have signed up for email blasts from us. So anytime there's major project updates, we've been sending those out by email to that grouping. If anybody wants to get added to that, I'll share the link at the end of this presentation if you haven't been signed up and you want to. Just as a refresher, you see the projects going clockwise around the screen, starting in the upper left-hand northwest corner of the screen, the project 2, then project 3. It's hard to see the difference there, but then we moved to project 4, 5, 6, and then in the highlighted yellow box, that's project 7, which is that project that's over on the McVicker end of things. Project 2, we're happy to report that is complete. Many of you have heard that, but we were able to finish this water line work in January. Project 3 is some very large reinforced concrete box work and storm sewer work that goes under the on-ramp to I-70 there. And we started this in March, and we are right on schedule, 25% complete with this project. And I wanted to share some construction pictures with you all so you can kind of see the magnitude of the work that's being done. If you are avoiding this route, which you are smart to do, you might not see some of this. So it's pretty impressive. A lot of folks have been interested in what's going on over there, and these pictures really help to understand what's happening underground. For Project 4, we are doing a lot of sanitary sewer work, and there's just a small amount of storm work on this one. We started this, I say late May because we're just getting started. We were delayed a little bit. We're really in the mobilization phase, so about 3% of our project schedule is completed, but we're getting that kicked off and rolling on this one. That's why I don't have any pictures of the work yet. Project 5 includes sanitary sewer and water line work. We started that in April. We're a little behind schedule there, but we're about 12% complete with this project. Many of you are feeling the impacts of this. You can see it's really impacting the area of Kansas Avenue, 1st Street, 2nd Street, I just want to add, we've had some really great coordination meetings again. Last week there was a big meeting as we're reviewing the traffic control plans, and engineering and public works have been really, really helpful, along with our infrastructure engineers, trying to keep the bridge open so that folks can maintain access there. It's going to be wild, a little ugly, but keep posted, keep looking at our social media, and look for those updates so that everybody can see what's going on, because you can still get there. It's just going to be a little different from what you've been experiencing. Again, some projects of that work happening there. Kind of see the size and magnitude of what we're dealing with. Project 6, we're relocating sanitary storm and water here. We began in March, and we are ahead of schedule on this project, so we're 36% complete. Here's just an aerial view of what's going on there. You see some trench boxes and the heavy equipment being used to do some of that work. Project 7 is a lot of sanitary work that we're doing. We started that in April, and we're really doing great here, ahead of schedule. We're 73% complete with this work. This shows you some bypass pumping and some of the work they were doing as they're lining. So they were going through underground and lining this pipe so that we can ensure longevity and the life expectancy there. So really that's it. I wanted to open it for any questions you all might have, and then again, direct everybody to the city's Polk Quincy Viaduct utility page, which can be found at this link. It's going to give you all of these updates on each project and more. The other thing I wanted to direct folks to is, if anybody is interested, Braxton and team, we've met with our groups and TSG, and they've been working really hard to get that portal that you guys requested to see where's the detour routes and closure routes for all of our city projects. So if you go to topeka.org and look on the homepage, there's a button there that says road closures, and if you go to that button, it's going to bring you to a map that shows you where our road closures are and what those detours look like for major traffic impacts.
Thank you. The email blast, is that through community engagement?
Our staff are sending those out. So
Your staff is?
we've worked with our communications team, and they just, after everybody signs up on that list, it's a mailing list. That gets
Okay,
sent out.
if you could give us that, Sylvia, that would be appreciated. I know community engagement's sending out some email blasts, so if it's something different, I want to be able to share that with my constituents, as well as I'm sure other council members. Can you go ahead and, do you have it that you can say it on this meeting? That email address?
Yes. So if we go, can you pull that back up? It's really, it's topeka.org I'm so sorry to have you do that, Amanda.
That's okay.
Topeka.org/utilities/PQV.
There we go.
PQV.
Oh, right there, okay.
Yep. You can find it just going to the city's website and hidden utilities, but it's easier if you can just get that link and
Yes, it
head
is.
there, and then people can sign up there. Once we get that, I'll just tell staff as we send those out to make sure we're including community engagement, and then they don't have to go looking for them.
That's awesome.
So, yep.
That's awesome, but it's another tool.
Yep.
Do we have any questions?
Not a question, just a comment.
Your mic, please.
I'm
It's
on.
on, just wait.
My grandson goes to Hayden High School, so we travel through there every weekday on our way to school, and man, I often wondered about the impact that the project might have on the traffic for that community, and that box is just amazing, something to see. It's
Yeah.
really good work, I think.
Yep, thank you.
Thank
It
you.
is very impressive.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did we get Neil unmuted? Oh, we can hear you. Do you have any questions?
All right. Yeah, I have no questions, but I might have some later, so I'm happy to be able to speak. Thank you.
We're happy to hear you. Okay, does that conclude? Yes. Oh, absolutely. I didn't see you, I apologize. Any council members can come to the table. I'd love to have you to the table. You are a governing body. Mr. Marcus declined, but out of respect, I do invite anyone that's there. Go ahead.
I want to ask, how are we doing on budget?
We are doing okay. We've had a couple of things pop up, but we anticipated that ahead of time, and we are still well within budget authority. So we're doing good now, and we're just monitoring that as we go. And so if we do get closer to some pain points, we'll be sure to let everybody know and start planning for what we're going to do at that point.
That's important.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a seat there. Okay, next is the CIP. And is that,
I'm going to start with the first one, according to agenda, and then I'll let Braxton kind of take over here.
carry
So-
on, please.
Thank you again. I wanted to just start by saying, we're very appreciative. Much of our utility work has been being coordinated with street projects that are going on, and so Braxton's been very kind to present that utility work and in requesting approval alongside his project. So that's why you're not seeing us up here quite as often. However, as he's made everyone well aware, we have a lot of work going on, and I just wanted to thank Braxton for doing that for us. And today I am coming forward to the committee to request approval for a project that's ready for construction and whose budget exceeds $250,000. Today we're requesting approval for water line improvements in the Westboro neighborhood. This project consists of almost 22,000 linear feet of water main replacement. So the utilities department has kind of stepped back and began to look at a more holistic approach to water line work instead of piecemealing it block by block. We decided to really go in and try to impact neighborhoods as much as we can with what funding we have. So this particular project is $7.5 million worth of water line work that we are doing in that neighborhood. And then two other projects that we will be coming forward to you with down the road are Knollwood and Montera. That work's being designed now, and then we'll request approval for that. Just wanted to give a little bit more explanation of what we're requesting today, specifically for Westboro.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Sylvia, the water line improvement, is it for preventive maintenance or just what we do when we do a project such as this?
When we're looking at our water line replacement program, we're looking at the age of that infrastructure, what the main break history is there, what the consequence of failure is, And so for this neighborhood in particular, the water lines are beyond their life expectancy, and we have had a lot of water main breaks over there, and that's why this is one area we really know we need to hit. The amount that we are spending in our operating budget addressing breaks over there is huge. So this will help us tackle that the best way, which is fixing the problem instead of putting Band-Aids on it.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Dobler, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't have any questions, but I'll move approval.
Okay, it's been moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 3-0. And thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you.
Continue the good work. And number B, Summerfield Neighborhood.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to present. We're requesting approval of a project budget in the amount of $3.3 million, and this is to do street and storm work in the Summerfield neighborhood. We will be virtually touching every street in that neighborhood. The street portion of this project is $1.2 million. The stormwater portion of the project is $2.1 million, so the storm actually exceeds what our street work is. We are beyond the useful life of the street. PCIs are very low in the 20s and 30s. The stormwater conveyance system is even worse shaped than the street. There are many pipes where they're old corrugated metal pipe where we have completely lost the invert. With that, I will ask for approval and gladly stand for any questions.
Are there any questions? Councilman Dobler?
No questions. I certainly support this. Just wanted to point out, I actually designed the streets in this subdivision. Hate to count this up, but 36 years ago. So it's certainly, they've certainly exceeded life expectancy for that kind of infrastructure, and I would move for approval.
It's been moved.
Second.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Councilman Dobler, is this a good project then, 36 years old? I mean, back then, those projects were good.
Councilwoman, it was a good project then, and it's a great project now.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I-
All right. Chesney Alley replacement.
Yes, ma'am, this would be mine as well. We brought this project to you a couple of months ago to the PI committee for approval. It is basically replacing the sewer and the alley on the 1800 block between Lincoln and Buchanan. At that time, we were very optimistic in terms of our engineer's estimate for both the sewer work and the street work. The project was put out to bid. The low bid far exceeded the amount of the project budget, so we are seeking an amendment to increase the project budget to make this more realistic for doing the award. I will tell you that total project budget's $400,000. We budgeted $220 for sanitary and $180 for the alley. That is a legit number for an alley. I use $170 to $180 for planning purposes. Before we had $114,000, which was very, very optimistic. We also only had $180,000 for the sewer. So gladly stand for any questions and would ask your approval.
It's my understanding this is the neighborhood infrastructure program, Dreams 2?
Honestly,
It's part of it. It looks like it's part of it.
yeah, we're actually in construction on the alley in the 1900 block that I thought was the Dreams.
Oh, okay.
Is the Dreams funded, and then this is just being funded out of street and utilities.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns? If not,
No.
I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Neil?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Passes 3-0. D,
And the last standalone project that I have for you today is the complete reconstruction of Wenger and 57th due to the amount of truck traffic, the volumes out there. This intersection needs to be completely reconstructed. And will be full-depth reconstruction with concrete. We're right at $250,000. but just 249,975, but thought just in case we would have a change order that would take us over there, out of abundance of caution, we wanted to put this in front of you. And also, we like to be very transparent in terms of what we're doing. So with that, I'll gladly answer any questions and would ask for approval.
Are there any
No
questions or
questions.
concerns?
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, 5, presentation, 2024 Safe Streets and Roads for All.
I'd like to introduce Allie Weems, who is one of the management analysts in the Public Works Department. Allie was one of the multiple authors of this grant application and has some very good news to share with you all.
Would you like to come sit down?
Please come.
Ally, wherever you feel comfortable. Welcome aboard.
Thank you for being flexible this morning. I really appreciate it. I know this news came in pretty abruptly on Friday morning and didn't find out about it until Friday evening. So I appreciate the opportunity to come speak with you all today regarding this. So my name is Allie Weems. I'm a management analyst with the Public Works Department, and I am absolutely thrilled to share with you some information on the city's winning application for the 2024 Safe Streets and Roads for All program through the U.S. Department of Transportation. Oop, whoops, I'm a little too far there. Okay. So to give a little bit of an overview about what Safe Streets and Roads for All is, we call it SS4A for short. It is a program fund that was introduced with the passage of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law in 2021. So this has been around for a number of years, but one of the key deliverables of the applicants who receive funding is to develop a comprehensive safety action plan, or a CSAP. And that is meant to provide a community-wide plan that will allow us to strategically address and prevent roadway fatalities and serious injuries. This would be the first type of plan of this sort for the city. In addition to this particular funding, we've received a planning and demonstration award, and demonstration activities are meant to inform future implementation. So these would be conducted in a pilot study format so that we can study success in measuring outcomes so that we're able to identify solutions with our safety action plan. And I'll discuss some of the demonstration activities in the following slide here in a moment. And so the initial focus for our particular plan when we receive funding, because there will be a moment in time we'll need to go out for an RFP to establish a consulting firm that would help us develop a comprehensive safety action plan. With the development of our bike, ped, and safe routes to school plan, we identified an opportunity to really focus in on our school zone for safety improvements. And again, I'll discuss some of what that looks like in the following slide. So another key facet that doesn't come in through the U.S. Department of Transportation, but rather the state, we have an opportunity called the Build Kansas Fund, which is unique to us. I believe there's only another state in the entire country that provides this type of support to municipalities. But we were able to apply for this funding because we went out for a bipartisan infrastructure law opportunity to receive our matching requirement. So in concurrence with the application for the Department of Transportation application, we also applied for the Build Kansas funding match, which brings us this total funding amount you see in this table to $5.39 million with no fiscal impact to the city. So that is very exciting. A note I will also mention here, this would be the highest competitive grant award the city has received, and the first bipartisan infrastructure law grant the city has received. So some eligible demonstration expenses. This is the two-parter to the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan that will help us identify these safety improvements as conferred with the plan through community engagement that we will conduct along with the plan implementation. We have several identified temporary installations is how they are defined, including signage, RRFBs, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, flex delineators, and high visibility crosswalk markings. And something I wanted to highlight about the crosswalk markings, is just the extension of useful life that is included with upgrading our existing infrastructure of crosswalks. So we have our painted transverse lines, that top photo right there. It has an approximate useful life of 1 year. And so this can be very cumbersome on our field staff to have to go back out annually and go and repaint. But this new, they call it the Type 2 International or precast longitudinal bars, extends that useful life by at least 3 times, so from 3 to 5 years. So that gives kind of a good visual of what that looks like in practice. And so that would be our hope, to go out to these school zones and immediately begin some of that work while we await going through that RFP process and getting that plan document prepared with our community engagement to really start honing in and targeting exact locations. Another key component of why I believe that our application as the city was so strong was some of this groundwork was already laid in the previous fiscal year through Shawnee County. So Shawnee County was awarded funding for Safe Streets for All for their CSAP, or Comprehensive Safety Action Plan, in 2023. So at this time, they're currently pending an RFP for the development of their plan with their consultant, and the goal would really be to complement their plan to create and close that gap with our combined road networks. Oh, whoops. This is actually my favorite slide, so I would hate to miss it. But this is truly remarkable stuff in terms of working in the grant space and having these key stakeholders consistently being involved in this process. And these are 13 community, state representation, the county. They've all been at this table and very excited and willing to provide their support for this project. And they have just been consistent every time we go out for engagement. These groups are always happy to participate, and it really goes a long way in showing just how aligned we are as a community, as a region, to go and do this work. And in combination with that as well, our staff time that's been put into this, all the effort that we've gone through as a collective team, and the information sharing we've been able to do to provide substantial information to supply for this grant has been tremendous. And so I just want to give that shout out to staff, because it truly wouldn't have been possible without that coordination and doing the legwork here in-house and being able to engage with these stakeholders. And lastly, I'll also mention the National League of Cities has offered a boot camp that we've been participating in for the past few months now, and they've provided a great resource to be able to shop out our final application submittals from a third-party perspective to really hone in on what we've identified in our narrative. And it's been a really collaborative process, and so I really look forward to being able to expand on that in the plan process. And that is all I have, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Are there any questions? Councilman Banks?
Yeah, how do you go about making your choice for where you're going to start the work? How do you choose?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I know with the Safe Routes to School plan having come to fruition and been highly engaged with our community, we decided that would be a good significant starting point, because those are already delineated. But the idea going forward with the development of the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan is to have all of our community stakeholders at the table and let them help inform that process. So to say at this time that we haven't identified particular locations as of this moment, it's intended that through that planning process will really start to help delineate and hone in on what targets we need to look at.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilman Dobler, do you have any questions?
I do not, thank you.
No, I just think this is awesome. This is good news, it's great, and above all, no financial burden to the city. That's the best news. So thank you for all of your work, and we look forward to hearing more about this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, presentation, Topeka Boulevard, 21st to 15th Street.
So our next presenter is going to be Jason Fundis. Jason is an employee of PEC. Jason is our lead consultant on the design of Topeka Boulevard, 15th to 21st. Just a couple of overarching comments before I let Jason take his place. This is a JEDO countywide half-cent sales tax funded project. So this would allow for, the JETO funds do not have the same restrictions that citywide half-cent sales tax. So we could use this to do road treatment. We could also use it to do utilities. Obviously, as I've told the council before, we do not have sufficient money projected to come in from the JETO countywide half-cent sales tax to cover the estimated project costs for all of these. So one opportunity that we would have would be for the governing body to make a change in the scope of the project, to reduce the scope, to be able to extend that money. But any decision to reduce scope needs to be done based on the best information that we have available. We've been able to do cores along the boulevard and have recognized that road was initially a state highway, and it was built out of concrete, and then basically there was an asphalt overlay on top of that. I'm going to hazard a guess it's 30 or 40 years old. The base is failing on that, and Jason's basically going to lay out what his research is, and then the possibilities and our recommendation in terms of being able to move forward with this project. And so with that, I'll let Jason take it over.
Thank you, Braxton. As Braxton mentioned, Jason Fundus with PEC. I'm a project manager there and working on this Topeka Boulevard, 15th to 21st Street. So this one currently in the CIP is listed for rehabilitation from 21st to 15th Street. I want to be clear that no work is planned at the 21st Street intersection or the 15th intersection with this project. The current pavement condition index on this project for Topeka Boulevard is 33, which meets the standard for full reconstruction on a major arterial. Currently in the CIP, the construction budget, which would include the pavement and storm sewer only, is $6 million. So we looked at some of the improvement options that we have here, starting with the full pavement reconstruction versus a mill and overlay with full depth repair, but also what other improvements in the infrastructure can we do, including storm sewer improvements, water main improvements, sanitary sewer improvements, as well as evaluating any complete street elements that we may need. So as Braxton mentioned, we did a geotechnical investigation to analyze the pavement. We performed 12 subsurface borings, which included going about 5 feet below the existing grade. We did this in multiple lanes, various lanes throughout, northbound and southbound, so we could kind of get a good mix of all those borings. So I'm going to show you here 3 pictures of 3 of the borings, which kind of summarize these borings are throughout the entire stretch. The first one, boring 1, is just south of 15th Street. And as you can see, the asphalt is pretty much setting on rock, which is the concrete base that is there, just being severely damaged. Boring number 8 is right across the street from the Stormont Vale Event Center around 18th Street. And again, you see the concrete base failing with the asphalt showing stress as well. And then in boring 11, which is nearing 21st Street, just south of the Shunga Creek Bridge, that's on Topeka Boulevard. Again, the asphalt section's cracked, and we're seeing the concrete base showing severe distress. So with that geotechnical evaluation, with the pavement core showing the existing roadways in severe deterioration, the findings recommended full pavement reconstruction, which lines up with that of the PCI index. One thing that we did want to mention is that as we would move forward with this project, we would both be looking at doing alternate bids for concrete or asphalt, a flexible pavement versus a rigid pavement. That way they'll allow the city to analyze the bid prices that come in for both options and then choose the best option from that direction. Some of the additional elements that will also be improved with the roadway is resurfacing the existing bridge over Shunga Creek. Then the 17th and Topeka Boulevard intersection would include full replacement there, as it is very severely deteriorated. Replacing any of the ADA ramps and sidewalks that don't meet the current ADA guidelines and requirements. Then also looking at adding a shared use path along the Stormont Vale Event Center property that could range from a 6-foot shared use path to an 8-foot shared use path. And then some of the complete street elements that we'd also analyze was street lighting, additional shared use paths along the stretch of Topeka Boulevard, or any additional sidewalks. With some of the utility replacements, as Braxton mentioned, we're looking at water main replacement for a full replacement and a new crossing across Shunga Creek. Storm sewer rehabilitation, whether evaluating full replacement versus repair options, and the same for sanitary sewer, evaluating that for replacement of any structures or any line repairs that are needed. So I'm going to quickly just go over some of the utility replacements that we have found. Looking at the existing water main, on this stretch of Topeka Boulevard. It is an undersized 6-inch cast iron pipe that was installed between 1892 and 1947. So easily almost over 100 years old in some areas, and looking to replace that with a 12-inch PVC main. Also, as I mentioned, adding a new crossing across Shunga Creek would help create a loop and help with redundancy issues for any water main breaks in the future. And then currently that project is under contract for design and funded by the Utilities Department. On the storm sewer, where we'll be looking at doing a hydrologic and hydraulic evaluation of the existing system to determine the capacity, as most of the section south of 17th sets in the new FEMA floodplain that was adjusted a few years ago. And then also we're coordinating that with the City Utilities Department to evaluate any of the existing structures and pipes for their conditions. As I mentioned, the intention is to rehab or replace the corrugated metal pipes and replace any of the system where it does not meet current city requirements for the storm sewer. On the sanitary side, we'll coordinate that with the utility department as well. There's not much sanitary sewer running linear with the street, just mostly crossings. We have crossings at 20th, 18th, 17th, and 16th Street. But most of the structures that are in the street itself are brick manholes, and typically those have been replaced here recently with any infrastructure projects, and the lines that are crossing within those brick structures are aged clay pipe. So with the utilities, now we went back to the pavement to kind of see what that field evaluation would look like for a full replacement versus just a pavement rehabilitation. So bear with me for a little bit. I have a map on the next page that will help show these colors in red and yellow. But if we do a mill and overlay option with pavement rehab, the following would still be required, which are shown in red. The 17th Street intersection that I mentioned for full replacement, the bridge repairs and any resurfacing over Shunga Creek, the water main replacement and any pavement associated for that replacement, and storm sewer replacement and rehab and any payment that is associated with that. On top of those, we then looked at evaluating how much of the pavement is still in acceptable condition, and we're anticipating that 60% of the remaining pavement will require full depth patching, and about 35% of curb and gutter will be needed replaced, along with any of the sidewalk and ADA ramps that are not meeting those current regulations. So here is a map showing all those highlighted areas of how much pavement we would intend to replace with a rehab project. Looking at a rehab, we're still estimating over 70% of the pavement will be needed to be replaced. And looking at costs, we're estimating that a rehab project would cost around $5.3 million for the pavement and storm sewer only, again, so we can compare apples to apples. So in conclusion, we're recommending full pavement replacement due to the geotechnical findings and the extensive needs for the pavement rehab. There's the cost, apples to apples, as I mentioned, $6 million for a full replacement project, $5.3 for just a rehabilitation project. And then along with that, we would just follow any utility improvements as recommended by the City Utilities Department. So I'm happy to answer any questions for you guys.
Are there any questions or concerns? Mr. Dobler?
Yeah, just quickly to Public Works and the consultant, PEC, appreciate the evaluation. It was a little boring for a couple of slides, but I think the boring's actually illustrated the condition of the pavement and why it makes sense to go forward with the $6 million project, as opposed to trying to save a few bucks and having to come back later and do it all again. So thank you.
I agree, that was a very thorough explanation.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. Can I get, well, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve it.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Before we vote, I just want to say I went to the meeting, has been very involved in the meeting from 29th to Southwest 21st Street. Who's responsible for this?
Me.
This is awesome.
Thank you.
I don't know, have you seen this, Braxton?
Yes.
This is awesome. I hope that every project is done like this. It has a QR code that you can scan and keep up to date every step of the way. My constituents might not call me, only if they can't get their QR code to work. And also, I am so impressed. It has also all of the project managers from the city of Topeka to PEC to Bettis. This is so awesome. I hope we continue to adopt these for all of our programs. And if we don't, I would like to know why, because I'm going to try it and try to keep up on it.
Thank you.
And I've heard nothing but good things. We appreciate you coming out, explaining that project to us. And I will send this copy to each one of my council members, so, because this doesn't just affect me, this affects everybody. So that's why I'm so excited, so I don't get all those phone calls. And yes, I'm sorry?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I didn't make it to the meeting last week. I'm sorry I didn't. But what kind of time frame are we looking at? I'm assuming you have contractor on board and just about ready to start?
Yeah, so this is for the Topeka Boulevard 21st to 29th project. And yes, Bettis is the selected contractor on that one, getting ready to move forward on that. They're anticipating starting around the 1st of June, and then finishing up currently is anticipated at the end of October.
Is 21st included, the intersection, the 21st included in that one?
No, the 29th Street intersection is included in that one for a mill overlay on that project. The 21st intersection is a separate project that should be out to bid here
This week or next week, we're anticipating August start of construction on that, and that will require a full closure of the intersection of 21st and Topeka for the entire construction season, because the first part of that, after removing the pavement, is for utilities to stick build their new water line across that and then chase it up the hill to tie into a new PVC 12 that was put in as part of the Kansas Avenue project.
Okay, then what's the timeline for 15th to 21st?
15th to 21st is slated for 2025 and 2026. That project is going to take 2 years because we have to maintain one lane northbound, one lane southbound because of the businesses along there. So that's why we're planning on a 2-year construction period. Obviously, this was critical for us to get in front of you, to get some guidance and direction from the PI committee so that I can turn Jason loose to get moving on the actual design, to get those plans so we can get it out to bid this winter with an award in early spring so that we can get started on construction in 2025.
So is it phased east side, west side, or are we going to phase it by sections coming down?
We're not that far, we're not far enough into design to figure out how we want to do the construction phasing.
Okay, thank you.
I will give you this, so you'll have it. Starts with the video and it goes through step by step. It's got everybody's contact information, because I was going to give you one anyway. But I hope to see one on 15th to 21st. I hope to see the same thing.
Yeah, and I will mention that one. We'll have a project website that will get on the Public Works site as well here shortly. Once we have all the dates, those were just anticipated dates on that schedule at that time. So once we have those dates a little bit more certain and locked in, then we'll be pushing out the website. And the intention is to continue that website through all 3 of these projects. So that's just kind of a one-stop shop for any information on the Topeka Boulevard projects.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, I have a motion on the floor. All those in favor, say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Okay, 3-0. Okay, firm project memo.
Jason Tryon, Deputy Director of Public Works, will present on the update to the firm.
Morning, Jason.
Good morning, members of the governing body. What you have in front of you is a memo updating you on some project budgets that we are amending based on additional feedback from our project designers. So we have a number of projects that are lower in cost. The fire station window updates, the bid came in lower than expected. Also, we are expecting a lower budget on our Fire Station 9 remodel. However, there are 2 projects that are coming in considerably higher than we had originally anticipated based on our engineers' estimates. One is the Law Enforcement Center repave, and the second is the replacement of the boiler at the Law Enforcement Center. So in both of these cases, we had our engineers go through the project. They've identified a base bid and some alternates. When we take that project out to bid, we can ultimately make a decision on which alternates that we select and then come back to this body for approval when we have a final estimate when we're ready to accept a bid.
Okay, on the fire station window updates, does that include all of them, or is it one specific?
No, that is only on 4 fire stations. So our historic fire stations, when we originally bid out this project, the cost estimates came back significantly higher than anticipated, so we reduced the scope, and we're still looking to make those improvements through future projects, but they would not be included in this one.
I guess I'm asking you, like, what stations are those?
I believe it is 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8, but I will confirm.
Okay. Okay, is there any questions or comments? Councilman Dobler, do you have any?
I do not. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any more. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all that I have for today's meeting.
Thank you, Braxton. You're doing an outstanding job, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other items to come before this committee? Any other items? If not, I would just like to say again to the crew, to the engineers, the street crew, and everybody out there, continue to do what you're doing. Big shout out to Tony Trouter for getting me off the hook at his mama's corner. Can you believe that? There was a mess at his mama's corner and he didn't even report it. But we got it taken care of. But we appreciate you guys every day when cars are going up and down the street and they're calling, and just want you to know that you are acknowledged and appreciated. City Manager, do you have anything to add? I do not. Okay, if not, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.